My client Joe lost 25 kilos in just 16 weeks, going from this to this, training only 4 times per week whilst working a desk job. And in this video, I'm going to cover the exact process and roadmap that we used so you can too. For those of you that don't know, my name's Zach. I've been coaching for 10 years, and during that time, I've helped over 700 men worldwide get into the shape of their life just like Joe. From pilots to factory workers, from business owners to offshore workers, all of them ended up with a life-changing transformation in as little as 16 weeks. Me, myself, I had a disability where my bone died, which I've since had a hip replacement for, yet I've still managed to achieve my dream body, which was all made possible by following this exact process and roadmap, which starts off by identifying how much you need to lose. Having a broad goal, such as lose fat and lose weight, is the reason why most men struggle. In Joe's case, every single time he tried to diet, he just had the goal of lose belly fat, which, don't get me wrong, was the aim of what we wanted to achieve. However, that's far too broad of a goal, and it's so easy to get lost in the monotony of dieting. So with Joe, we identified exactly how much he needed to lose, when he needed to lose it by, and set weekly targets for him to aim for. Having specific targets removes all of the guesswork, gives you a clear direction, and prevents you from dieting aimlessly. With Joe, we aimed to lose around 0.5 to 1.5% of body weight per week, which started off at around about 2 to 3 kilos per week, which tailed off to around about 1 kilo per week near the back end. For you guys, let's just assume you need to lose 30 pounds and you want to lose 1 pound per week. That's going to take you, roughly 30 weeks. If you want to lose 1.5 pounds per week, it's going to take you 20 weeks. And if you want to lose 2 pounds per week, it's going to take you, on average, 15 weeks. You'll always lose a lot more at the start due to initial drop in water weight and inflammation, and then near the back end, as you become leaner, it will begin to tail off. So keep that in mind. Once you've locked in your goal and you know exactly how much you need to lose, it's time to work out your calories. Now, there's multiple factors that go into this, from your job, your age, experience level in the gym, etc. But the issue that most have, which is exactly what Joe had, was you start off too low too soon. Joe used to diet on 1600 calories out the gate, cutting carbs and doing endless cardio, which is great at first because you see substantial weight loss, until a few weeks into the diet, you slow your metabolism, you tank your testosterone, you've got no energy to actually build any muscle, and you give up because you're miserable and it's too hard. So with Joe, this time round, we did the opposite. We started him off on week 1 at maintenance calories, which worked out at around about 2,700 and over 400 grams of carbs, with a meal plan tailored specifically to the foods that he enjoys the most. For you guys, I can't give you exact or specific calories in this video, but what I will say as a rule of thumb is if you multiply your body weight in pounds by 15, that'll be roughly your maintenance calories. Then what I would like you to do is weigh in every single day over a 10 to 14 day period. If them scales go up, pull a few calories away. If them go down, add on a few calories on top of that, and then you'll find your maintenance to work with. For macros, Joe was at 1 gram of protein per pound of lean body mass, 55 grams of fat for hormone function and health, and we filled the rest of his macros and calories from them macros with carbohydrates, which is typically the split that I advise for most. After that maintenance period, we then pulled 700 calories away to push Joe deeper into a deficit, keeping protein and fats the same so he had enough energy to perform in the gym to continue to build lean muscle, size and strength, but lose serious amounts of body fat at the same time. And I know all of this can be confusing: macros, calories, meal planning. So if you want all of the guesswork taken out of it for you, just like what we did with Joe, hit that top link in the description and me and you can have a chat and we can come up with a roadmap specifically for you. No obligation to sign up, no commitment. Obviously, we want you on the team because I can guarantee a result like Joe, but if you just want to take that information away, you can do that and be on your way. One big thing that Joe made the mistake of that so many men do is just focusing on calories, not when you actually eat them. And if you want a result like Joe or the rest of the guys, meal timing plays an important role. Or when you do lose the weight, you just end up looking skinny, weak and drawn, and you don't build much muscle. With Joe, we put 50% of his daily carb intake in his pre and his post-workout meals. For pre, the closer to the workout you eat, the more fast-acting carbs you need. The further away from that workout you eat, the more slow-releasing carbs you need. For post-workout, ideally, we want you to eat as soon as possible because that's when your body's ability to absorb nutrients is at its highest. So aim for a fast-acting carb source and pair that with a fast-acting protein source, such as cereal with a protein shake. And a hack here is to actually remove fats or minimize them as much as possible in the post-workout meal, because fats slow the absorption of nutrients, which is what we're actually aiming for here. In terms of training, Joe made the mistake of training 6 times per week, thinking the more he trained, the better the results would be. We actually did the opposite of that with Joe. We had him training 4 times per week, running push, pull, lowers, and uppers, doing roughly 2 to 3 sets per exercise, workouts lasting no longer than 60 minutes, training in the 6 to 12 rep range, with every exercise taken to complete failure. And if you want the exact training plan that we used on Joe throughout this entire process, DM me the word Joe on Instagram at Zach_Obsidian Coaching, and I'll shoot it across for free. But here is the framework I use so you can too. First up, identify how often you can train. Then once you've found that out, pick 2 body parts that you want to bring up the most and build your program around them. Prioritize movements that are easy to load, which 9 times out of 10 are going to be machines, because when you're in a machine, all you've got to worry about is sitting in it, loading up the weight, getting comfy and pressing. And the whole aim of building muscle is to generate as much force and tension within the targeted muscle as you can, which is typically a lot easier when you're using machines. Then we have steps in cardio. A big mistake most make is thinking that endless cardio is the answer. It burns a lot of calories for sure, but starting off too aggressive too soon is the reason that most fail. With Joe, we started him off on 10,000 steps and 0 cardio. Then over time, we added in 2,000 steps or 4 times 10 minutes of low intensity steady state cardio when weight loss began to slow. For you, I can't give you an exact amount of steps or cardio to start on, but a good place to start is ideally 8,000 steps, or take your current weekly average and add on 3,000 on top of that. If you see you can't do that, vet your time because you've got a dream body to achieve, or at the very least, get yourself a walking pad so you can do steps in the comfort of your own home, or just keep making excuses and stay where you are. It's your choice. The biggest and most important thing for Joe was accountability and tracking of his food. What isn't measured isn't managed. And most men I speak to say they eat healthy, which is fine. That's great. But if you're fat, you're eating too much, which was Joe's problem and many other men's. The thing is, when you say you eat healthy, or even if you are eating healthy, that's just guessing. And guessing doesn't get results because you're basing all of your decisions off emotion and chance rather than actual facts. Fat loss is an emotional journey because you're fundamentally trying to change your appearance. So the less you actually measure accurately, the more you make decisions based off emotion and chance, which is why most people stay fat. Even something as little as committing to jumping on the scales first thing every morning will reinforce you to make better decisions, because the last thing you want to do is jump on them scales the next day after you've shoved a takeaway down your mouth because you don't want the anxiety or stress of the scales going the wrong way. So we got Joe to track everything and held them accountable to do so, as after all, it's incredibly easy to let yourself down. It's very difficult to let someone else down, especially when they've got your best interests at heart. That's exactly how we got Joe to lose 25 kilos in just 16 weeks. However, I know it is a lot to take in and it's difficult to stick at on your own. So like I said earlier, if you want all of the guesswork taken out of it for you and have a roadmap built specifically for you and your lifestyle to get a result just like Joe and the 700 other guys, then hit that top link in the description. We can have a chat and come up with that specific structure for you. Full transparency, I want you on the team because we can for sure 100% guarantee that you can get a result just like Joe. However, it is completely free, no commitment to sign up. You can simply take away all of that advice and that roadmap and have a crack at it all on your own. And if you haven't already, don't forget to like, subscribe for more educational, straight to the point videos like this.